Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian, and I am streaming to you live from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. I hope that all of you are having a good weekend so far. Welcome back, Angel. Hi, Domenico. Phuong, nice to see many of you back in this class also. Lovely to have you spending your Saturdays, evenings, days with me here. Students, IELTS speaking part 3, talking about thinking creatively. We just finished a speaking part 2 lesson where the cue card question was about a creative idea that you have had, and we spoke about a creative idea that we had to build a vertical vegetable garden in some storage space. Keep that in mind as we go into these speaking part 3 questions. This material is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live lessons. You can find all of our videos, practice exams, and much, much more on these websites. This is aehelp.com here, our academic IELTS website. Click this big red button that's just kind of above behind my head there to join the premium version of our course. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. You are in great hands with us, students, and you can use the code EXPECT9 for a 10% discount on the websites. General IELTS, gieltshelp.com, green background, same idea. We're going to use the websites in just a few moments to interact with students. So join up and get learning. For apps, visit your app stores, Academic IELTS Help, General IELTS Help, Instagram IELTS_AEHelp, GIELTS Help. We're here in many shapes and forms to give you vocabulary and tips for your next IELTS exam. And if you still have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com, admin@aehelp.com. Of course, this is the last lesson for this week, and next week our lessons will kick off on the 29th of June with speaking part 1 for everybody. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you get these live IELTS class schedules. They're free on the channel every week. I host them. I have so much fun hanging out with you and helping you improve your English, your communication skills, and getting past the IELTS exam and being successful in school and life. It really is very rewarding, and I genuinely have loads of fun doing it, so I hope you do too. All right, we've got lots of classes next week, so stay the course. We've got this video for you, and we've got a new one coming as well in the next day for you. So the channel always has these great videos, and of course our websites have these videos as well. As Elizabeth says, for sure. I hope so. I hope everybody has fun. Learning has to be fun. Learning, work, school, they should all be fun. You should enjoy all walks of life. I think it's the wrong idea that people think work and school are challenging and not fun. Well, the challenging part is okay. The not fun part is not okay. All right. So have fun with it. Visualize it, become a part of it. Okay. IELTS speaking part 3 is the final part of your IELTS exam. It is the most challenging for many candidates, as these are specific questions on specific topics, such as creative ideas. In this case, you really need to join your answers with your part 2 answers. Okay, so if part 2 you talk about a vertical garden, you should mention that vertical garden a couple of times in your part 3 answers to make those connections. Okay, if you talk about a different idea that you have had, such as doing a TED Talk X, for instance, or starting an exercise club. Make sure to join your ideas with that, or an alternative solution for having your lecture in a cafeteria instead of the lecture hall. So join those ideas to part 3. Okay. Now, of course, some of you are like, why is he giving me those examples? Well, those were the examples that were used by some of our students in the previous class. Okay. Lewis, you flatter me. Thank you. It's great to see you in the class also. All right. So let's do this. Let's talk more about creative ideas. Give me some answers, students. Make sure to speak and repeat. So copy what I say, copy how I say it, pay attention to corrections. I speak with a West Coast North American accent for my English and style. You will hear this style of English in Vancouver, Seattle, Oregon. You might hear some slight differences, but it will be very, very similar for sure. Los Angeles, San Diego, along the western seaboard here of North America. So let's jump in. Let's just give some answers, and then I will give you feedback and corrections. So here we go. The examiner will say at the end of the 2 minutes of speaking part 2, they will look at you and they will go, please stop there. That is the end of your part 2. We will now continue with part 3. For this part, I will ask you questions related to your response and some questions connected to the topic of part 2. Let's talk more about creative ideas. In what situations do people often come up with creative ideas? Give me a nice full sentence for this one. Anahita, our very studious member and premium student, responds by writing, in circumstances such as making a difficult decision, doing a tough assignment, and learning a new skill, individuals come up with new ideas because they pave the path for creativity. I solved a difficult decision to come to Canada by creating a table of the benefits and deficits of choosing Canada as my home. Okay, sure, yeah. So when you're making a difficult decision, one creative idea is to make a table, right? The good, the bad, the pro, the con. You list them all, you think about them, and you make a decision, and that's a creative way to make those decisions. Anahita, that is a good answer. I like it. Okay, and I finished it for you because I didn't see the end of it. So that was really good. All right. So there are several circumstances where people think quite creatively in school, work, and at home to come up with solutions to challenging situations. Perhaps the most extreme is when there is existential threat, such as COVID. As the saying goes, war is the mother of invention. During COVID, humans were at war with the virus and came up with creative ideas, including remote office and mRNA vaccinations. All right, now that's a hyper advanced answer. I'm just showing you how quickly you can actually think on your feet for your answers, right? So think about some And you're thinking like, well, how did Adrian just think about that? Well, I took a page from my life, right? So I'm thinking of what are some of the most creative advancements we have made in the past 5 years, in the past 10 years, and definitely some of the biggest changes in society that I experienced recently were a result of COVID and technology. So ChatGPT, for instance, right? People are getting overwhelmed with too much work, too many emails. We need an assistant. Not all of us have a ton of money to pay for an assistant. So voila, there's ChatGPT to help you out, right? Pressure, challenging situation, COVID. People are scared for their lives. They have to find alternate solutions to communicate, to collaborate. Remote office, right? We need a medical solution. Let's try to come up with a creative vaccine, right? So all of these thoughts flood into my mind, but I have to stay calm and focused on these questions, right? Okay. And of course, practice will help you with this. Domenico has this answer for us for this question. Domenico says, let me get both parts of that, Domenico. I do see the rest of yours. Okay, so Domenico says, I believe more often than not, people come up with unconventional or creative ideas when they are faced with challenges or problems which require thinking outside the box. Like when they need to make a tough decision in the spur of the moment. Okay. Absolutely. Children, as I have learned now that I'm a father for a number of years, definitely inspire creativity because they get themselves into some interesting situations, right? Like my child got her hand stuck in a toy. What do? Use a whole bunch of cooking oil. All right, so creative ideas are born from necessity. Absolutely. Okay, good. Let's keep moving. By the way, when you see new vocabulary, write it down, students. So spur of the moment is an expression that Domenico is using, which means spontaneous, not planned, and sudden. Okay, spur of the moment, spontaneous. Are you repeating? Are you copying what I'm saying? Hopefully. Okay. So make sure to copy and repeat what I say and how I say it. Spur of the moment. Spur of the moment. Spontaneous. Okay. Let's look at the next question. All right. Absolutely, Shushi Shubi. Learning to improvise is an extremely important skill. Good point, Shushi Shubi. How do you think creative ideas contribute to personal growth and development? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. All right. Milan Batarai has this answer for us. Just once, Milan. Just once, okay? All right. Milan says, yes, creative ideas play a vital role in personal growth by allowing individuals to express themselves, solve problems, continue learning, build confidence, and broaden their perspectives. Okay, this is a good answer, Milan. Now, to get those band 9s, you need an explanation. Okay? And often you also need an example. So it's good to start with your answer, and it's good to start by using the question. So notice how Milan is quite clever here, using the question in the answer. So yes, creative ideas play a vital role in personal growth. That's great, right? Because here, how do you think creative ideas contribute to personal growth? So Milan, good. Yeah, thumbs up. Absolutely. It's a good start. By allowing individuals to express themselves, solve problems, continue learning, to build confidence and broaden their perspectives. Sure. But what do you mean? Like, why do creative ideas contribute to that, right? So I would answer something like this. This is because creativity, especially when it is admired by others, gives a person a sense of self-worth, right? Like when my parents praised me for my most recent painting of our house. I felt over the moon. I know a lot of people like that idiom, so I will show you a good place where you could use it in this context. So you feel great, like your parents are like, wow, that's a really good painting of our house. Oh, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. I feel so good. Expressing my creativity sure was a good idea to build my confidence, right? I mean, that's really it, right? So here would be your full Band 9 answer, right? So always think answer, explanation, example. Okay. So yes, creative ideas play a vital role in personal growth by allowing individuals to express themselves, solve problems, continue learning, build confidence, broaden perspectives. This is because creativity, especially when it is admired by others, gives a person a sense of self-worth. Like when my parents praised me for my most recent painting of our house, I felt over the moon. Okay. This kind of answer, as I showed you last week, is the kind of answer that like ChatGPT would give you. So if I have ChatGPT open and I tell ChatGPT, or I ask ChatGPT, the AI, for those of you who don't know, ChatGPT is an AI. If I type into ChatGPT, the AI, how do you think creative ideas contribute to personal growth or development? ChatGPT will probably say it contributes to personal growth and development by allowing individuals to express themselves, solve problems. ChatGPT is clever at using the question too, so it will often say creative ideas play a vital role. But ChatGPT is not very good at giving explanations and examples unless you ask it to. So if you're getting the help of ChatGPT to practice your English, you still have to understand good communication. Okay? Now, ChatGPT is a good tool. Okay? So is a good tool to help you practice English. Okay? But, and this is a very important but, students, I actually recommend using ChatGPT to help you with English. But, you must understand the concepts of good communication and ask the right questions. Okay? ChatGPT won't do more than what you ask it to. Okay? So, when you ask it to give you an answer to an IELTS speaking question, let's do this separately. Be sure to also ask, include an explanation, include a real-world example from the perspective of a 20-year-old woman from Vietnam studying sociology. That's if you are a 20-year-old woman from Vietnam studying sociology. And if you can be more specific, you can also say sociology at Hanoi University. Okay. Make the complete answer no more than 2 to 3 complex and or compound sentences. Okay. So here is a really, this, I'm kind of hitting two birds with one stone here. Okay. Because I know a lot of people are starting to use AI to help them study English, and that's really smart. Okay. That is a really good idea. I absolutely support that idea. 2 thumbs up, really. At the same time, you do have to understand that the AI is an assistant. It's not a replacement. It doesn't replace you. It helps you. You are the boss. You are the manager. Okay? You need to manage. That means you need to have the right instructions. All right? That's where teachers like me come in. You can't just throw me out the window yet, guys. Sorry, ChatGPT. Not yet. Not yet. But if I keep giving you this good information, you might be able to. Maybe not. Maybe I've still got a couple of few tricks from this old dog that you can learn. So to get the best answers from ChatGPT, you need to give it these instructions. Okay. Now, you still have to check the answer, obviously, right? And make sure it makes sense, because the more specific instructions you give it, sometimes the weirder the answers start to get. So, and of course, in the real IELTS, when you're getting asked the question, ChatGPT is not there. It's like, yeah, sorry, you can't bring your computer, and you can't bring ChatGPT to work with you, and you can't bring it to the IELTS exam with you. You can maybe bring it to work, but not the IELTS exam. So remember these points. Include an explanation. So this isn't just for ChatGPT. This is for you during the IELTS. Include real-world examples from your perspective. Okay, so if you are a 20-year-old woman studying sociology at Hanoi, include examples from your perspective. Okay, and keep your answers complete and have 2 to 3 answers roughly for each part 3 question that are complex compound sentences. Okay? Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah? Those are some really important points for high band scores in speaking part 3. Hopefully that makes sense. Yes? If it doesn't, if you're like, whoa, what? Too much information. All right. Sounds like it makes sense. Okay, good. So ChatGPT is only as good as the person managing it. I know some people are like, but ChatGPT is so smart. Why didn't I get a band 9? I used its answer. Well, it's not ChatGPT. It's the question that you asked it, right? So this would be a band 9 response, right? So creative ideas play a vital role in personal growth by allowing individuals to express themselves, solve problems, continue learning, build confidence, and broaden their perspectives. This is because creativity, especially when it is admired by others, gives a person a sense of self-worth. Like when my parents praised me for my most recent painting of our house, I felt over the moon. Okay, now it makes a lot of sense. Okay, an answer on its own is not necessarily sensible. Your listener might still be like, why? Okay, all right, here we go. Next question. Can you give examples of how creative ideas have led to successful inventions or innovations? Okay. Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Examples of how creative ideas. Now here's where you have to think fast, right? So what is a creative idea and what is an invention? So think about an invention, right? I'll show you how my brain would approach this. So the self-driving car, okay, that's an invention, right? The internet, that's an invention or innovation, we can say, right? Okay, now I ask myself, what is the creative thought that led to the self-driving car? The internet. What is the creative idea that led to the internet? Okay. If you know the answers to these, great. If not, you can even come up with them, right? So this is the thought process here. Okay. The self-driving car, right, comes from the creative idea of maximizing time when you're commuting. So the creative concept to minimize danger and maximize efficiency when going to work or school has led to the invention of the self-driving vehicle, right? A lot of us are realizing that you don't want to sit behind a wheel and do this for an hour each day when you could be doing a lot of other fun activities during that time, right? Like finishing part of your work and getting home early. So instead of staying an extra hour to send emails at work, you could actually win 2 hours by doing that in the 1 hour it takes you to get to work, right? That's super efficient. So that creative idea has led to the self-driving vehicle. The internet is an interesting one. If some of you are learning computer science, you might have learned the history of that one. The idea to decentralize information to safeguard it, like in case of war or natural disaster, led to the invention of the internet. In fact, it was originally called the ARPANET. I might be confusing Terminator with the actual name of it, ARPANET, in the US. No, Terminator was Skynet. That's right. Terminator called it Skynet. The scientists called it ARPANET, I believe, originally. Did you know that the internet, that was the original goal in the US? The government said, hey, wait a second, we can't have all of our information in one place because it makes it very vulnerable. Like somebody could just destroy it and then it's gone. We need information to be everywhere all at the same time, or it can be moved very quickly so it can't get destroyed. What do? Well, let's create a net of information. And that eventually turned into the World Wide Web. You can't see me, but you can hear me, which is cool. Focus on what I'm saying. It's way cooler than looking at me. You can see me in a second here. There I am. I'm back. I'm here. There you go. I got so excited I forgot to tell my camera to wake up. Explaining. Did everybody catch that? Do you need to see me to hear that again? Right? Maybe. Okay. So here the question is, can you give examples of how creative ideas have led to successful inventions or innovations? First, I think about an invention like the self-driving car or like the internet or like the vaccine, right? Okay. And then I think about the creative idea that resulted in that innovation or that invention. So the creative idea to keep people safe and to make use of your driving time, not just holding a steering wheel, led to the invention of the self-driving car so that people in the future can do their homework or answer their emails while they're going to their university or their office. That's your band 9 answer right there. Or the internet, which was created from the idea to decentralize information so that it can be safe and it's much less vulnerable, right? Okay. All right. Makes sense? Hopefully everybody's still repeating. right? Okay. All right. Let's volunteer. You know what? Let's talk to each other. Angel says, yes, sir. All right, let's do this. Let's just speak. We'll get more creative, more pressure. Force of necessity. Speaking. To speak, go to aehelp.com. Amra, thank you for putting the instructions into the chat. Okay. Let's do this. Go to aehelp.com. Sign up for the premium course if you haven't. How many times do I have to say it? It's not a lot of money. There's so much good information and so many activities and videos there for you to learn on the go through the app, through the website. Click the big red button right there. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access. You can use it for your whole life if you want to. We will be integrating AI and all sorts of fun tools over the next few months into the website. So you can get AI through the website too. Everybody's doing AI. We got to do AI. Everybody's doing AI. It'll be AI Adrian. You'll see like a robot version of me. Hello, everybody. Include examples and explanations. That's the future me. Maybe I'm already AI. Who knows? All right. Well, let's do this. Go to your My Student account. It's at the top there. Okay, you got your computer-based practice exams, your full online interactive course. You can download PDFs. You've got your lesson videos. Look how many lesson videos you have. You can watch those forever. Definitely watch the key strategy videos. Okay, those are really good. Click on student partner speaking up there, and we'll be able to talk to each other. Except that you'll start speaking. You're going to see me in here again as master. Just follow the instructions by Amra. He's really made it clear, I think. Master. I'm going to change that to AI Adrian. I kid you. I kid you. I will remain human as long as I breathe. And I might have an AI assistant. And then you can click on the blue envelope that's next to my name, that part there, and send me a message. And then in the message say, I want to try, or let me give this a shot. Dewey, nice to see you in the class. Now, I did promise Phuong at the end of last class. See, I am a man of my word. Let's see you do that, AI. That I will reach out to you, as you were really adamant and held in there last class. So, Phuong, are you ready? And we've got lots of time, students. We've got nearly an hour, so I've got lots of time to really get into it with you today. All right.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Phuong. How are you?
I'm a little bit sleepy right now. How about you, sir?
I am exactly the opposite. It's 9 o'clock in the morning for me, so I'm full of energy. You can just take some of my energy. All right, Phuong. So let's get into some questions about creativity. Are you ready?
I'm ready, sir.
All right, let's talk more about creative ideas. In what situations do people often come up with creative ideas?
Well, some current conferences that people frequently think outside the box, such as trying to make tiny draft borders, taking photos of the universe instead of flora and fauna, or even redecorate their own home. When an individual is facing an issue and being thrown into different environments, it definitely forces their brain to do more than what they expected to do. I've been repainting and drawing my bedroom wall with a neutral color, as well as adding some light screen on the ceiling this investment.
How do you think creative ideas contribute to personal growth and development?
Hmm, that's a tricky way, Cheese. Please trust me a second to think about this. Hmm. Uh, well, innovative suggestions can have a significantly positive effect on an individual growth. When coming up with an idea can not only improve one's cognitive development, but also improve and nurture both self-awareness and self-esteem. That's why 100% of children must force the brain to think on time about diversity of subjects during the school time in order to sharpen the critical thinking.
That was a really good answer. I'm going to stop there. Um, okay. Good. Your band score would be certainly at least a band 7 for that. Again, lots of phonetics, lots of pronunciation practice. I'm sure you know I was going to say that, right? So you got to keep doing that. It takes a while, Phuong. Just stay the course. It takes some time to really do that. Lots and lots of repetition. Phuong, are there any like TV series or podcasts that you're listening to or watching in English?
Um, it talks, sir.
TED Talks?
Yes, yes.
Okay. TED Talks is an interesting one because it's not all native English speakers. So you have speakers from around the world, which is okay. And you have lots of different speakers. So TED Talks is okay for listening skills, to improve listening skills. It's good for vocabulary because they use some very high level vocabulary, especially in specific areas. But that was a very loud vehicle, whatever that was. Right. But for pronunciation practice, you want to watch a TV series or listen to a podcast where it's the same speaker that's talking about a ton of different ideas, like what you do with me, right? You're watching me regularly. I have one style of English. I have one style of this West Coast pronunciation. So you need to just copy that same speaker again and again and try to really mimic their pronunciation. So watch the way that they articulate their words, and then you will get into the rhythm of that mimicry. Okay, so doing that with my voice and my pronunciation is fine. I definitely recommend finding potentially a female to copy Phuong as a girl. Okay, so find a female actress that you really like or podcaster that you really like that's a native English speaker, and then copy their English and keep like mimicking their sentences. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right, do that and you will definitely get a better band score because your vocabulary is great. Sometimes your word form is a little bit off, but I think you can adjust those elements. I think the biggest area of improvement is still on the pronunciation and intonation for clarity. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Your strategy is great too. Notice everybody how Phuong says, that's a tricky question. Wait a minute to let me think about it. Right? And then you use really nice adjectives, adverbs, like significantly positive growth. Really nice. So keep going. Keep doing that. Okay, Phuong?
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for being my first volunteer in this class, Phuong. I hope you get some good rest and good sleep.
Have a nice day, sir. See you next week.
Thank you. See you
Bye-bye,
next
sir.
week. Bye, Phuong. All right. Thumbs up to Phuong. Okay. Let's take someone who might not have had a chance to volunteer yet. I don't think we've heard from Adel in a while. Let's see if Adel is available for us today. Are you ready, Adel? Okay, we've got lots of time, so hang in there, everybody. Lots of time. Okay, Adel, if you're there, let me know. We haven't heard from Adel in a bit. There's Adel.
Hello,
Hi, Adel. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I am doing good also. Adel, can you just tell everybody where you are, why you are taking the IELTS exam?
Sure, sure. I'm originally from Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
Currently I'm living in Indonesia. I'm actually taking the IELTS general for immigration purpose.
All right, Adel. Yemen. I don't know much about Yemen, but I do hear that Yemen is one of the most challenging countries in the world for living. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. Actually, we've been having a severe war. It's almost now goes to 7 years due to
7 years of civil war.
yes,
That's
yes,
wow. I can't even imagine.
parties.
Yeah, it's really hard when people just can't seem to agree with each other, right? There's a saying in English that you can't fight fire with fire, and that's true, right? In civil war, that's the problem: is people try to fight fire with fire, and it doesn't really work. All right, well, Adel, I am here to help you with your plans, and I think you have some good plans, and I'm sure you're working really hard to make those plans into reality. So let's get into it. Are you ready to talk a little bit more about creative ideas?
Right, I will say.
All right, awesome. Here we go. Can you give examples of how creative ideas have led to successful inventions or innovations?
Well, uh, creative ideas has really make an impact in the society, but in a positive way. For example, when we look into the application nowadays, there is so many application in the it's in the market. For example, for shopping, for buying online, those application has make our life is easier. For instance, sometimes we have, if let's say we need to buy something, you back days you have to walk to the supermarket or to the nearest shops. While nowadays using this application has make our life easier, we save so much time by purchasing via those application. It's also help us to navigate or to shopping window through so many things.
What are some factors that can hinder the implementation of creative ideas?
Well, that's for one of the fact that can handle those application is by improving the connection or improving the internet, or because some of those application, in order to be able to use them, or in order to have the full application used, you must have a very good or high connection of the internet. Not only that, the coverage of the area, where it depends on the area where you are staying in, it's make a very vital impact to the usage.
Adele, that's awesome. Thank you. I'm going to stop you there in those two questions. That gives me a good idea of what you're doing. First of all, you have really good comprehension. Those were some challenging questions, and I think you understood them fairly well. Your band score would be about a 665. Okay, so 665. It depends on how strict your examiner is for grammar mistakes. If they're really strict, some examiners might give you a 5.5. If they're like me and they're not that worried about grammatical mistakes, as long as they understand what you're saying, they'll give you a higher score. I would actually probably give you closer to a 6.5, because I feel that you understand the questions very well, and I do think that you have good skills to express yourself. Even though you make some mistakes with your language and there's some communication mistakes, you express yourself quite well. And I really look a lot at your expression, which is your coherence mark in your IELTS exam. So your fluency and your coherence are quite good. Your grammatical accuracy range, they're a little bit lower. Let me give you a little bit more detail. Okay, so I said, can you give examples of how creative ideas have led to successful inventions or innovations? This question here. You did a really good job using the questions. So you realize, okay, I have to think here. These are not simple questions, and that's part 3, right? They're not simple questions, right, Adele?
Yes.
Yeah, so you got to think, right? You can't just speak. You got to think. And one good way to think is use the question. I say that often, and you did that. Phuong did that too. You said, well, creative ideas has really made an impact. Ideas plural, right? So it's have. You can see Microsoft Office is underlining it too. It's like, no, that's a have. So have. So careful with the has, have, okay? Creative ideas have really made an impact in society. Not but in a positive way, because it's not a contrast. It's just in a positive way, right? There's no but there. So in a positive way. And then you said, for example, usually in the IELTS speaking, you don't want to say for example, but in this case, it's good because the examiner is asking you. They're saying, can you give example? So yeah, say for example or for instance, of course. So you said, for example, there is so many. There are so many. You have to be careful with your auxiliary verbs, right? Has, have, is, are. Okay. There are so many applications like shopping online. That was really smart. I was like, oh, that's a really clever answer. Like shopping online, those have made our lives easier. And that is a creative idea that software developers had. Right?
Yes.
So I'm reflecting the question directly in the past 10 years. And then you said when you need to buy something back in the days. So when you needed to buy something back in the day. The correct expression is back in the day. Back in the day. Okay. So just, little mistakes, right? Like is, are, have, has, back in the day. Those are, in my book, they're little mistakes. They're not huge mistakes, but I can't give you a 7.5 or an 8 when you're making all those little mistakes. So you have to be careful with those. Now, also, Adel, don't say when you. Okay. Instead of the when you, in part 3, it's better to use an example with just people. So when people wanted to buy a TV, they needed to spend 2 hours to go to stores. Now they can order from Amazon in 5 minutes. Right?
Correct.
Okay, so just a little bit more direct with my example, and not you, not me, but just people or shoppers, customers. Okay, all right.
In general.
Yeah, so this answer, we can basically take what you said and we can upgrade it. We can say it like this. I'm going to say it, just repeat after me. Well, creative ideas have really made an impact in society in a positive way. For example, there are so many applications like shopping online that have made our lives easier. And this is a creative idea software developers and business people had in the last 10 years. When people wanted to buy a TV, and back in the day, they needed to spend 2 hours to go to stores. Now they can just order from Amazon in 5 minutes. Okay, go for it, Adel.
Okay. Well, creative idea have really made an impact in society in a positive way. For example, there are so many applications like shopping online. Those have made our life easier. And this is a creative idea that software developers and business people had in the past 10 years. When people wanted to buy a TV back in the day, they need to spend 2 hours to go to stores. Now they can order from Amazon in 5 minutes.
Awesome. So when you say it like that, that is a band 758. Okay. It's much, much better. All right. Hinder, I feel that you understood that word hinder. That was a bit of a tricky one. And, in part 3, there are some words that you have to know to answer well. Adel, what does the word hinder mean?
It is how to say how to what I can is hinder is a word how to utilize, how to handle the situation. If I'm not mistaken.
Not quite. Hinder means block or obstruct, stop from happening. Okay. So what are some factors that can hinder the implementation of creative ideas? Lack of technology can hinder creative ideas, like having slow internet. Lack of funding, not having enough money, can hinder creative ideas. Where I had a great idea to change my house to solar power, but I didn't have $20,000 to buy solar panels, right? So hinder means to block or to stop creative ideas from happening. Your answer was actually okay, because you talked about online applications or certain applications not working with poor internet. So that was the technology hindering. So that was good, Adel. You might have been guessing a little bit, but it was a good guess. Okay. So it worked.
Honestly, yeah. So I wasn't sure about it at the beginning, but I just give it a hint.
Sometimes that works. So if you're absolutely not sure, then it's better to ask for the question to be repeated. But if you kind of have an idea and it felt like you kind of had an idea, then it works. And it actually worked with me. I wasn't sure. I was like, I think he maybe understands the word hinder. So that was good, Adel. All right, Adel, keep up the good practice. Watch those auxiliary verb, plural, singular grammar mistakes, okay? And know yours, just people, customers, okay? Right?
Sure. So I'm planning to attend the exam as soon as possible. So I would like to have your advice in one thing, if you don't mind.
Go for it. Ask me.
Thank you, sir, for this. Actually, I'm planning to attend within by the mid of July or the end of July. But when I'm trying to register, there is one option. They give me an option for the listening part. Either I would like to choose face-to-face or online. Mm-hmm. Will there be advice from you which one will be suit me the best?
Yeah, I think you meant the speaking part, not the listening part, right?
Oh, sorry, speaking part.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The face-to-face, for sure. Okay, so if you have the option to do a face-to-face speaking interview, absolutely take the face-to-face option for the speaking interview. Let me ask you a question. Do you know if you have to wear a mask or not in the face-to-face?
To be honest, I have no idea, but what I can see now, there is no more restriction about this.
I don't think so. There are only very few places where that might still be the case. So I don't think you do. In most cases, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And if you don't have to wear a mask, which is most likely, then definitely do the face-to-face, because when we're face-to-face with people, we have a lot more communication with our body, with our eyes, with the atmosphere. So do the face-to-face, okay?
Okay.
All right.
We'll notice it.
Good
Thank
question.
you very much. I appreciate this advice.
You're welcome.
It means a lot.
You're very welcome, Adel. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.
You too. Thank you. Have a good day, sir.
That was Adel. Thumbs up. Good luck on your exam coming up, Adel. All right, my WebSocket's closed, so I'm going to do a shift refresh here, everybody. You might want to do the same. So if you see this kind of message where it says WebSocket closed, please try reloading the page. It just basically means you've been disconnected from the server for whatever reason. There could be a million reasons for that. Then all you need to do, just like what you do on your phone or with other applications, is you refresh the page, right? Like when we're on our phone and we pull down to refresh. It's basically what we're doing here. So I'm going to refresh the page and reconnect with all of you. Okay. And we'll find another volunteer. Okay. Let's do this. Dewey. I have a feeling Dewey has some creative ideas to share with us, being an engineer in France from Vietnam. Dewey, are you ready? Yes. All right. Let's do this.
Hi, Adrian. Can you hear me?
I can. How are you, Dewey?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great, actually.
I haven't heard your voice in a while, and it's good to hear that you're doing well.
I know. Things have been pretty crazy for the last couple of months. So here I am today.
Nice.
I'm very glad. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You're always very welcome here. Dewey, is it safe to assume that creativity is a fairly regular part of your work life, especially?
I suppose. Yeah, I think so. Because often when we study in schools, we often study standard circumstances. But when we when we come into real life, the professional real life work, I often have to deal with lots of like non-standard, and I have to come up regularly with inventive ideas to tackle the challenges.
Yeah. Can you just share with everybody what you majored in university?
I'm majored in construction engineering, civil engineering.
Yeah.
And now I'm working full-time as a civil engineer.
As a civil engineer, yeah. And you're in Paris currently, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so I've lived in Europe, and I know that one of the incredibly challenging situations for civil engineers in European cities, like Paris, for example, is that these cities were not built for modern population and modern technology. So what I mean by that is a lot of these old cities, and of course across Asia as well, they were built for a lot fewer people. So they weren't built for tens of thousands of cars, right? And for this massive infrastructure of cables and wires and so on. So civil engineers have extremely challenging and creative jobs to solve these situations on a daily basis, I know. And then not to mention the force of nature, right? Wind and water and all the rest of that fun, all those fun elements. All right, well, Dewey, let's get into your mind a little bit. Are you ready to talk a bit about creative thinking?
Yeah, sure. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay.
So, how important is it for individuals to share their creative ideas with others?
I think it is crucial that people share their inventive thoughts with their relatives and peers. On the one hand, if it's a good idea that helps the world, spreading this kind of invention will definitely do the world a big favor by helping a lot more people. And in other case, if this idea needs improvement, I think it's always good it's always a good idea to get feedback or revision from others. As the saying goes, two heads are always better than one.
Just a second. I want to catch some of that before we go to the next question. Okay. Yes, I want to share that with everyone after, so I wanted to catch the rest of it. Okay, here we go. Next question. Do you think there is a difference between creative ideas generated at home, work, or at school? Why or why not?
Yeah, I think there's definitely differences between creative ideas come from home, work, and school. The main difference I can think of is the audiences that these ideas can help. For example, at work, these creative ideas often help workers and often help workers to work more proficiently. But in school or at home, creative ideas often generated in the hope of building a better atmosphere for children.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, for example, in my places, like in the part 2 that I share with you, by sharing scheme can help workers to use their bike more frequently, and at home, a safety bed can help children to sleep without worrying of getting off the bed in night.
It's not getting off the bed. Can you try that again? Different verb.
Of getting off the bed.
Falling off the bed.
Falling off the bed.
Because getting off is voluntary. We voluntarily get off the bed, so that's not a problem. We want to let the children get off the bed. It's not good if they can't, especially if they need to go to the bathroom. But we don't want them falling off the bed, right?
That's right.
So Yeah, so a couple of small mistakes, Dewey, but overall, very quick, clever thinking. And I'm glad to see that many of you have adopted this crucial aspect of good communication where you're reflecting the question for two reasons, right? One, to show that you understand the question, and two, to allow your brain to generate good ideas. So that is a very, very good strategy, and that has been emphasized by Adel and Phuong as well here. You should be able to see me. Just give it a second. The camera likes to go to sleep after every half an hour. I'm using a new camera and it doesn't really want to give me the option to stay on forever. So I think it's a creative idea to protect it from exploding if we forget to turn it off. Dewey, a great job buying time with these leading sentences, and you don't have to say them quickly, right? Like you're slowing it down. You're like, yeah, I think there's definitely differences between creative ideas at work or at home or at school, and then I can feel your brain thinking, and you're realizing, well, yeah, the audience is different, right? At work, it's employees, colleagues. At school, it's peers, professors, and at home, it's your brothers, sisters, parents, or your kids, right? So it's a very different audience, very different purpose, right? You're not so worried about the safety of your coworkers. That's their responsibility, but you are worried about their efficiency and getting jobs done on time, right? So your creative ideas are fueled for that purpose or by that purpose. So that was smart. Think about examples. So Dewey, what I want you to do is practice your small to big, big to small thinking. Okay. What I mean by that, and this is very good advice for everybody. Okay. So when we think about our answers, when we think about our ideas, we want to think about the big answer, right? The big answer is different audience. And then we also want to think about the small example. And your small example here is a bed rail to safeguard children from falling off the bed. Okay? So when you think of a small example, you can think towards the big answer, right? At home, we think about the emotional and physical well-being of our family members. So our creative ideas are generated with these in mind, like a bed that has safety rails on it, right? Or an extra piece. And at work, it's different. So think about that. What is, Dewey, what is a creative idea in your workplace to help you or your colleagues work more efficiently?
Recently, we have installed a table tennis table in
Really?
our hall in order that we can play a little bit in our break, and it helps us tremendously to work more professionally in the afternoon.
Okay, there you go, right? So when you get this question, that's what you want to think of. So as soon as you get the question, if you're having difficulties thinking about the answer itself, then you want to think of the specific examples, right? And you can even start with those. You can say, well, in the workplace, in my workplace, we just installed a ping pong table. And that's to help increase efficiency in the afternoon. But at home, that same creative concept would be not so much for efficiency, but simply to have fun and for everybody to be happy. So the goal is different, right? And see how you can go from the small to the big as well? So you can reverse the order of, instead of answer, explanation, example, you can also go example, explanation, answer.
Thank you very much for your advice, Adrian.
Okay, try it, do in the future. All right, for sure, and practice that. Okay.
Yeah, just note that down. I will try to use that further for our next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Dewey, have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for sharing your fantastic English. That would definitely have earned you a band 7.5. Those two answers. Okay.
Thank you very much, Adrian. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye, Dewey.
Bye.
All right. Yeah, I mean, in most cases, and especially if you're just starting in IELTS and you're closer to a band 6, you should be focusing on answer, explanation, example, answer, explanation, example. When you feel like you have that system kind of under control, also practice giving examples, explanations, answers. So there is a difference between creative ideas at work, at home, and in the office. Recently in my office, we installed a ping pong table to assist with stress and make employees more efficient in the afternoon hours. And that's a difference between having a ping pong table at home, where the goal is not so much work efficiency and stress, but it's more enjoyment and overall happiness within the family. So the aim or the motivation for creativity is different among these different scenarios. Okay, that would be your band 9 answer. Now notice how I wasn't fast, so I didn't say the answer quickly. I kind of dragged my words and I thought through my answer. In my head, I was composing, okay, example of the ping pong table. How does that explain the concept of difference? And then, okay, that's the difference, and this is the difference then in the work, the home, and the school atmosphere. Okay. All right. Lots of thumbs up for Dewey. Dewey's English is great, and he's a very clever man. So keep going, Dewey. Absolutely. Okay. Nagia, I believe we've spoken to Nagia once. Let's see. Nagia's had browser issues in the past. Maybe we weren't able to speak. Nagia, let's try it. Are you ready? Okay. We want to give lots of students a shot at this. So Nagia, if you're there, if you're ready, let us know. Okay. And we'll see if that changing that browser. I know that for a few of you, you realize that VPNs are very effective. Nagia says, hope nothing fails. All right, of course. Nagia, I definitely hear that you picked up. However, I am not hearing any sound on the other end. So your creative idea to try a different browser did not succeed. However, sharing your creative idea with us does lead to feedback and improvement, as Dewey very cleverly said. And my feedback is that it's likely not your browser. It's likely VPN, and you should try your VPN. Yes, you definitely should try it. And then try to route through different countries too, right? Like some VPNs through some countries will work, others not, right? That's also creative technology that's trying to solve that issue of internet blockage, right? So Nagia, yes, try your VPN. Absolutely. Yeah, if you have Touch VPN, I'm not sure what part of the world you're in. I'm not sure where your internet is being routed through, but try it and I'll circle back to you. I'm going to give somebody else a chance here in the meantime, and I'll circle back. Let's give Cahyani a chance here. She's been very patient. Cahyani, are you ready? If you're still there, let me know. And then Nagia, reconnect with your VPN and we'll see what's going on. I'll do a refresh on my page. There's Cahyani.
Hey Adrian,
Hi Cahyani, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I am also doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. All right. Cahyani, you work in the medical industry, right?
Not. I'm in biotechnology right now.
Biotechnology is somewhat the medical industry, no? Am I mistaken?
Yes. Yeah, quite close.
Yeah. What specific If I may ask, what specific research or area of biotechnology?
The research is like talk about the organism or some of the fermentation that involved in my semester.
Okay. Does that involve some creative thinking?
Yes, because like this, like the role of the biotechnology, it is also good, especially for the human health. There is like the alternative how to use some of the products that is like have a less of the fat or the less of the risk of the obesity.
I got it. And I do see students that I kind of disappeared from the screen, which is fine. I'll try to reappear here in a second. That sounds really, really interesting, Cahyani, for sure. And it was a loaded question. So loaded question means that I knew that you needed a lot of creativity for what you do.
Yes, sir.
I can only imagine. So I'm just going to try to fix the, I think we'll be fine here in a second. All right. Yeah. Well, let's get into your mind a little bit here. And are you ready for some questions?
Yes, I'm ready, but I'm a bit nervous because the question it is quite tough, as you present in the link description.
Yeah, and they can be, right? You have to be prepared for any questions, right? And I sometimes I get that from people who sat the IELTS exam. They're like, my part 3 questions were so weird, they were so tough. So you need to practice these, right? You can't avoid practicing these. You have to try these ones. All right, here we go. Are there any specific skills or qualities that make a person more likely to come up with creative ideas?
Yes, there are tons of the specific skills and qualities that require to come up with the clever ideas like problem solving and also time management. Therefore, many of the people in my country make of the solution and also alternative way to tackle the problem, like develop the business strategy to tackle the problem of the economic downturn or economic crisis.
How can organizations foster a culture that encourages and supports creative thinking?
That's a tough question. I think the organization should develop lots of the events that can boost and also support the creative thinking, like the book club. It is the crucial event that it is appear from the attendees from a different age, whether it is from children to adults. So it is can boost the habits of the literacy and also can boost the creative thinking, especially like understanding the each paragraph of the books or the article.
Have you ever faced any challenges or obstacles when trying to turn a creative idea into reality?
Yes, I have ever faced any some of problems or obstacle that I want to give it a shot to make a creative idea tangible. Like like I made some of the events that it is community service to keep the environment clean, but unfortunately the participants that including myself it is very lazy. They tend to sleep instead of working. So it is like the big risk.
All right. You might get the IELTS examiner laughing sometimes. If that happens, stay focused, okay? Stay focused. Examiners are human too, and you might just say something that will get them smiling or laughing. If that happens, do stay focused. Do stay serious, okay?
Okay, sir. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, you definitely got me to chuckle there. They tend to sleep instead of It's terrible.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, as I can hold my laughter.
Go save the environment. Come on. What happened? Why did the trees die? Oh, we were sleeping. So that's terrible. All right. I like how you use the present perfect, though. You said, yes, I have faced not any problems. I have faced several problems. Okay. So again, just grammar. Cahyani, you have such great fluency. You have such great vocabulary. It's grammar, 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 grammar. Lots of focus on grammar. Okay. So yes, I have faced several problems when I want to careful with the expressions when I want to give it a shot. Give it a shot is a good expression. It's just strange in this grammar form. So yes, I have faced several problems when giving a shot to making creative ideas tangible. Okay, when it's tricky, when giving a shot. Yeah, something, my camera's not liking the battery here. When giving a shot to making creative ideas tangible. Okay, can you repeat after me? So yes, I have faced several problems when giving a shot to make creative ideas tangible. Then it makes sense. Okay.
Yes. Can I repeat?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have faced several problems when giving a shot to make a creative idea tangible.
Okay, that's much, much better. All right. So again, continue to improve that grammar, okay? Also, include examples. You had some really good answers. I was kind of hoping that you would include at least one or two examples in some of these answers. So, are there any specific skills or qualities that make a person more likely to come up with creative ideas? You said, yes, there are tons of specific skills and qualities that are required to come up with creative ideas, like problem solving and time management. Okay, and then you said like solving the problems of the economic downturn in Indonesia, right?
Yes, sir.
What's an example of a solution to the economic downturn in Indonesia?
I said before, establish a business like the handcraft business.
Sorry, can you say, so I didn't quite catch the pronunciation on the first word that you said. Studies business? What kind of business?
Develop a business like handcraft business.
Okay, I'm not 100% clear there though how that's helping the economic downturn. So is there funding for it? Like, is the government providing grants or business funding for small businesses, or what's happening?
Like from ourselves, like economic crisis, that we can make an alternative way, develop some of the business of the.
Got it. Okay, so you're saying like for the individual, people are
Yes.
finding extra sources of income, right? So
Yes, I mean individual.
Then you have to say that very clearly. So sometimes I think you're rushing, and because you're rushing, Cahyani, and this happens to people, I think this happened to Anna as well, there's missing pieces in the information. So many individuals are coming up with creative ways to generate secondary income, like home-based businesses making crafts. I have started selling coats for pets that I make at home. Why
Great
not?
idea, Adrian.
There you go. So clarity, right? Instead of speed, go for clarity, Cahyani. So many individuals are coming up with creative ways to generate secondary income, like home-based businesses making crafts. I started selling coats for pets that I make at home. Try that.
Many individuals are coming up with creative ways to make ends meet, like home-based business making crafts. I have started selling coats for pets that I make at home.
Perfect. That's how you get your high band score, okay? You're still rushing a little bit, and the only reason why is because you know what you need to say now. But you can't do that when you don't know what you need to say, Cahyani. So you have to slow down a bit, okay?
Okay, so yeah, I always forgot to slow down. Like, yeah, just slow down your speed, because
English is not as quick as some other languages, I think. I think the average speed of English is slightly slower compared to some other languages, and I think that might be the root of this issue as well. So you just have to remember that you don't need to speak English that fast. You can speak it slower, especially when you have tricky questions like this, okay?
yes, and it is equals the way I am speaking my native language, Indonesian, and also it can affect to speaking other language as well, especially English.
Absolutely. All right, Cahyani, so thank you for those answers. Keep practicing, keep it up. I think you would get a solid around a 7 for your current performance, but with the corrections, I think you can get much higher. I think you can get band 8, 8.5 even. Okay, so pay attention to the grammar and the content. Okay.
Absolutely, Adrian. That was great. Thank you for your feedback.
You're welcome. Bye, Cahyani.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Cahyani. Let's give Cahyani a thumbs up. That was really good. Yeah, I think my battery's kind of dying. It's like, you know, go sleep. Go have a weekend. I'm gonna listen to that. I think everybody's doing fantastic, and I urge you to practice with each other in the chat here. Okay, so there's so many of you here, and keep in mind that this is not just to speak with me. This is primarily designed to help you speak with each other, and it's a creative idea to help with the situation of not being able to practice English with other people because there might not be somebody close to you with your English level or interested in IELTS. So you can use this page, the student partner speaking that all of you clicked on here, okay, to practice with each other. And there's tons more good creative ideas in the website. So to use all of our creative content, definitely click the big red button that's here and start your journey to mastering English, mastering communication, and mastering the IELTS exam. Okay? All right. Students, for general IELTS, same idea, gieltshelp.com. It's right there. Okay. I'm back on Thursday with tons more help, and we will start on Thursday with speaking part 1. So be sure to join me there. It's a speaking part 1 class again on Thursday. And until then, again, aehelp.com, gieltshelp.com. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Amra, for moderating. Have an awesome rest of your Saturday. Get good sleep if it's late in your country. Have a fantastic Sunday. And I will see you next week. Pay attention to the new videos that we're releasing over the next day or two. Bye, everyone.